Welcome to Laurel Smith of Chicago, Illinois, nonprofit home video and artworks creations. As we look at the Nibiru Temple Mount aliens, we're looking at a planet that came so close to planet Earth, it appeared behind our moon. It's so huge, this planet Nibiru image, that we could see it from the African continent shores. If we look at this planet Nibiru image, the red YouTube filter, once we change the red color, contrast, and hue and brightness, we see its original TE1Q aliens land surface images, where we see an African sphinx face, and we see pyramids and dome of rock octagonal building structures upon the May 2016 image of Nibiru. However, when we look at this up-close land surface image, we see land surface lines that look like stealth pyramid lines, in which reconnects the stealth pyramid of Saqqara and all of the globe Earth stealth pyramid MERCATOR projections in which we see around the surface of planet Earth. As we uncover the before the flood Noah image, as we aerial view the African continent back here on Earth, so that's Genesis 2:7, normal here, the African Adam. But as we look at the 5 pyramids on Mars, that's like stacking 5 blocks on top of one another so that they form a step that you walk upon. Now, if you do the same thing on the right side, stack 5 blocks on top of one another so that they form a step that you walk upon, you stand back, you're looking at a stealth pyramid. So this is where the book of Psalms lied about the 12 African continent tribes. Remember, when you draw 12 lines from South Africa to north, horizontal white lines across the land surface of the African continent. Then you look back at it with satellite imagery, right, from space, then you see African continents living in each of the 12 horizontal white land surface lines. This is where we get the term the 12 African continent tribes, the original 12 African continent tribes, in which the book of Genesis 49 chapter and 8 verse, couching Ethiopian Islamic Aramaic Dead Sea Scrolls speaking lion sphinx of ancient Judaism, okay, ruled over. When it says in Genesis 49:8, all thy father's children shall bow down unto thee, they talking about the Ethiopian Sphinx 11. But the Bible, in theological racism, the European Gentile nations renamed the 12 African continent tribes into the 12 sons of Jacob. And when they did that, it concealed the glory of why the African lion sphinx of ancient Judaism was so important to the rest of the 12 African continent tribes. He was so important because he was taken above the atmospheric regions of planet Earth into the black outer regions of space. In Ezekiel's Old Testament, will and it will like UFOs. Okay, so who was piloting these UFOs? 4 feet tall, oval, big, elongated headed aliens, or H2N25 aliens. 4 feet tall, they had 3 fingers and 1 thumb on each hand, and they had no sex organ. They had smooth skin between their legs where a woman's vagina would be. So this is why God is not a man, or the biological extraterrestrial life form that created the first elongated headed African Adam, Adamic race. Now remember, there was 2 creations in the book of Genesis. With one, Genesis 1:26 referred to the elongated headed African Adamic race. Okay, they'd have a penis between their legs. Okay, the second creation in Genesis 2:7 deals with the normal shape-headed African Adamic race, such as you and me and the rest of the world. So the African sphinx in Egypt, in front of the Isaiah 19:19 Giza pyramids, is what Genesis 49 chapter and 8 verse was supposed to be talking about, the 11th geographic horizontal line which falls in Egypt. And he ruled over all of the 12 African continent tribes before theological racism of the European Gentile nations illegally stripped the African sphinx of its glory, of being taken above the atmospheric regions of planet Earth and into the black outer regions of space. In Ezekiel's Old Testament glowing circle of will and will like UFOs. Now this was by the H2N25 aliens. So as we look at this great archaeological and theological discoveries of Laurel Smith of Chicago, Illinois, nonprofit home video and artwork creations, we see that the African pyramids that appear on the back of the American dollar bill was placed there by European Gentile nations, or people from Europe that came in a boat called pilgrims in black hats, coats, and shoes. This is the dress code of the Europeans in a trading boat that came from Europe and
kicked the Indians off of the American-Canadian land surface. So this is the 1492 European Christopher Columbus image. And then we see the pilgrims. Okay. So these pilgrims that started early United States government from Europe. And every Thanksgiving they carve a turkey up to celebrate their freedom from taxation from the European rulers. So if we go and see that the 1609 transatlantic slave trade, we see black people being shipped away from the book of Joshua, ancient Egyptian land of Canaan. Now remember, the Egyptian land of Canaan that flows with milk and honey, it encompasses Giza, Gaza, Palestine, okay, Ekron, Ascalon, and Jerusalem. So this means that the Arab-viewed African lion sphinx that we now see in front of the Isaiah 1919 Giza pyramid is the Islamic Aramaic Dead Sea Scroll speaking lion sphinx of ancient Judaism. And why was he so important to the rest of the 12 African continent tribes before they was illegally renamed to the 12 sons of Jacob? Okay, and then a second renaming of the 12 sons of Jacob into the 12 tribes of Israel completely concealed the H2 aliens and the African sphinx of ancient Judaism. Because now when we go to look at the world map, globe image of Judea, remember the book of Ezra, 1st chapter, 3rd verse says, let us go up to Jerusalem, which is located in the land of Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Jacob. Now remember that all these illegal name changes and theological racism by the European Gentile nations completely concealed the glory of the Isaiah 1919 North African pyramids. Okay, now we talking about Khufu, the pyramid of Menkaure, right, and Khafre. So we talking about these 4 feet tall, 3 fingers and 1 thumb on each hand, big black oval shaped eyes, extraterrestrial that existed on planet Earth before they created elongated headed African Adamic race, or the black people we once saw in ancient Egypt upon the temple walls with long elongated shaped watermelon heads. They no longer exist upon the surface of planet Earth because they are in the Seal of King Solomon. Okay, so you said, what's that? Well, remember, the central cube in the 6-point star is referred to as the orbiting cube structure of New Jerusalem around our sun. But if we go back to the Babylonian temple walls, which the book of Psalms 105th chapter 23rd verse speaks of, the 12 sons of Jacob entering into ancient Egypt from the Babylonian style pyramid civilization of Ham located in modern Iraq. Smith of Chicago, Illinois, nonprofit home video and artwork creations. As we look at the Nibiru Temple Mount aliens, we're looking at a planet that came so close to planet Earth, it appeared behind our moon. It's so huge, this planet Nibiru image, that we could see it from the African continent shores. If we look at this planet Nibiru image, the red YouTube filter,